and I hope everyone's doing well this Thursday evening. I hope everyone's doing well. It's been a long time since I've done a live stream from Woodfield Junction. I hope everyone's doing well, and hope everyone's well, and hopefully have a good running session on the layout this evening. As many people will be aware of, I have been building a new layout for a couple of years now, and hopefully this one will run better than the previous Woodfield Junction. Now, saying that, I didn't have that many problems with the last Woodfield Junction, I must admit. The only thing that happened over time is for the bus wires faded underneath. If maybe people would be aware of that, the previous Woodfield Junction was only a 6x4 layout, and there was a few ups and downs with that one. I hadn't had the majority of the experience that I had as to this Woodfield Junction Mark II, but over the years I have had help from friends and family and colleagues who I've worked within the hobby, so that is the main thing. But I'll just give you a quick tour of Woodfield Junction itself, and also going to be showing you what locos we actually have running this evening. If you ever want to have a bit of a request of what layouts to... Sorry, I'll say that again. Oh dear, I'm getting my words mixed up tonight. If any of you have got a request, I can do requests on the channel. It's not a problem. Obviously, I'll let you know what locos are going to be running on due course. And if anyone has a particular loco or diesel, I do have a few steam engines, but they're not all DCC, unfortunately. Okay, so if you want to request, just give me a comment down below for the next stream, and I'll gladly do them. So tonight we've got a bit of a theme going on. This evening is overhead catenary locos. This evening, I've got a very vast amount of overhead electrics. So we're going to have a few running this evening. This live stream will run for about, hopefully, approximately half hour at least, hopefully. So if you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I will try and get back to them as soon as I can. Okay, so going to give you a brief tour on Woodfield Junction and some of the history behind it. So here is Woodfield Junction Mark II, and it's in its glory. Bearing in mind the layout is still in a testing phase at the moment. Started building this layout approximately two to 3 years ago. Did majority of the software planning using a program called Anywell. You can get this on majority of platforms. I've used it on a Windows PC, and basically started it from scratch. There was a few plans that I wanted to keep in with this one, with the old Woodfield Junction, because I thought they'd done pretty well, but with time restraints and the amount that was used on that layout, the expenditure on that layout was pretty low as into what this one's been to. So as you can see, this layout is now 11 foot by 6, and the previous Woodfield Junction was 6 foot by 4. So this one is doubled in size, and the majority is to prove to myself that I can build a layout from scratch, as well as have a little bit of interaction with what I can do on this layout. There was to be a bit more fun interoperability on this layout than compared to the old one. With this one, as you can see, I have got 4 trains running tonight, and we have got a bit of a 90s theme going on. So as we can see here, we've got the Resic parcels, the Balliol Greater Anglia 1915 Colchester Castle, and shortly in a minute we'll be having the Mark IIs DBSO with 90005 at the rear. 3 of these locomotives were previously ran on the Great Eastern Main Line. So 90005 was one of them, which was originally Vice Admiral Lord Nelson. She's now in the Freightliner colours, along with 90015 Colchester Castle, which is now over the rainbow for Freightliner in the orange colour scheme. And finally, we've got 90042, which was based at Ipswich for a little while, doing the Trafford Park Ipswich Freightliner duties. We did see on the Great Eastern Main Line they did take over from the ageing 86s. I have got an 86 in that Freightliner Power Hall. Runs really well, and we'll be seeing that again on another running session very soon. Okay, so going back to why I built this layout, I wanted to have a bit more fun and a bit more operability to what I could do. So as you can see, we have got 4-track running main lines, along with the ability to have a train run from where the 205 and the pair of DRS20s, along with Old Oak Common and the Accurascale 37. You can run a train from that. That is my oil and freight yard terminal. It will be eventually. You can have a train run up from there, do some servicing there if you require it, and then it will run through a catch point and then go onto the inner track, where it can either join the main line where the below grade triangular 90s is going through, or you can run it round through the small wide point, freeway point, and into this old coal yard. Now this is going to be so basically what we're going to have here is going to be the Bachmann Scenecraft. Now please bear in mind that this is my first real attempt at doing scenics on this scale. Some of my friends from the hobby are going to help me, hopefully, in congregating the scenic sections of the layout. Obviously, I'll be taking my time to do this because, as you can probably see, the boards on this layout are 6x4 for 2 boards and 6x3 for a third. They're going to be a little bit difficult in order to move around. So there will be times where I will have changes to some of the scenic, and I have to do it in slow batches to ensure I don't do any damages to either the wiring underneath as well as the track on the top. Now for most of the people that build model railways these days, I have decided to go with Code 75 ball head, with the exception of some of the points. The freeway points are Code 75. They weren't too difficult to wire up. Bear in mind there are some good videos on YouTube which you could, which I used for advice and ways to go around with it. But I managed to go through without causing any major problems. I did have a few short circuits to deal with, but they didn't take long to sort out. Would I recommend using them? Yes, I would. As long as you take your time and stick to the wiring constantly through the layout, you'll be absolutely fine. Now there are a few things I've got to do with this layout first to make sure that the track is all reliable. It's been sitting on these benches underneath the boards for just over 2 months now. The track is only being held together with some bolts. I will need to put some alignment dowels in eventually. Now I know some people will say, oh, you should have done that at the start, and I quite agree, I should have done that, but I'm learning this as I go along. However, I have tested this layout quite convincingly with some of my other rolling stock, so I'm capable of running a full length train. So on the two outer lines tonight we have got 90019, which is in the res colours, with the rake of Mark III Intercity Swallow with the Mark III DVT on the rear, along with the Mark II set that used to be on the Great Eastern Main Line until 2004, when the Mark IIIs and the 90s took over. Very reliable locomotives, all got, with the exception of 90005, have got sound fitted. These are from I can't remember what it's called now. They're from Zimo. If I remember the name of what they're called, I would put in the description below. But very reliable. Oh, sorry, I've got the name now. It's U-Choose. So John at U-Choose has been very, very helpful. Thoroughly recommend them as a supplier for decoders. And when you purchase a sound decoder from U-Choose, you will get a small stay alive capacitor, which will probably give you about 5 seconds of stay alive, which is just about enough to get over some confidential point work, and also it'll be good for Steam and 060 shunters as well. So future plans for this layout is going to be, I would like to take it to an exhibition at some stage, but again there'll be a long way to go before that. I'll have to ensure that all the joints are done correctly, bearing in mind the trains are running quite well tonight at the moment, fingers crossed. That's only because I've got a steady speed going on around at the moment. The 90 at the rear there can have a bit of an issue jumping off the rails, but I'm making sure it isn't. Now I know people are going to be biased in the comments saying, oh, you really need to have a border section on this outside. They are quite agree. That is going to be coming in a future video. So we're going to have a split in each of the boards, and there will be a little off-cut, which will have a scenic hillside going down to the rails in order to stop the trains from going off at this section. I am keeping an eye on it. In the centre we're going to have on this side, over by where the Mark 1s are, and the 08 shunter with her nuclear fasts, that is going to be eventually going to be a disused or very worn out collier depot. So we're going to have the Bachmann Scencraft Tower where in between these two tracks here, so where the C line hoppers and the nuclear flask trains are, there will be a Bachmann Scencraft coaling tower with the two running lines doing either direction, and there will be a signal gantry on this side where the 90 is going past at the moment, and that will have a 4 aspect plus a 2 aspect with feather to indicate trains going into the oil depot if they get routed by that direction. The signals will be Burco and Econ kits, along with the signal controllers from TrainTech. Now these are going to be a variety of different controllers. Majority will be the SC2 signal 4 aspect controllers, which means you can have up to 2 signals with 2 aspect signals on, or you can have a 4 aspect signal on its own, or you can have a 3 aspect with a feather on one signal. They are very reliable. They do have their ups and downs every now and again, but they are very reliable in my opinion. So also we'll have a free line there where the freeway point is. The line closest to where the freight line 90 is going past at the moment will be the siding for 16-ton mineral wagons. Now, I haven't debated yet whether to put the coal lift in. Now, on some coal depots they did have the coaling tower with a small coal lift for a train to come in, unhook the wagons, and then shunt the wagons onto the lift, and then dispose the coal from the hopper via the lift and onto the next available hopper train. I haven't gone down that road on this layout at the moment. I might just put it in for scenic purposes. So what I've got to do on this one is obviously to put some, might use the Hatton's oil kit for that, and use a variety of grey ballast with some coal mixed in to indicate the area is very well used for spillages of coal as the hoppers were filled and unloaded and reloaded. There will be a small little oil terminal in here as well, so where the Swallow 47 and Rail Freight Distribution 47, there will be a small 2-lane engine shed which I've got to build for this. I have got a Bachmann Sincraft 2-lane depot for this, however I will not be using it on this section. I will have a separate building just over here which will be used elsewhere. Where the thumper is, that is where eventually will be my oil depot is going to be. Now the two lines where the 20 and the 205, they will be the actual fueling points themselves, and where Old Oak Common and the Acura Scale 37 are parked up at the moment, that is where the reception signs are going to be for visiting trains from the main line, and they'll be in a variety of 3 to 4 TTA wagons or 200-ton tankers with a 08 or possibly 33 bringing them in for traction. So the fuel will be delivered via the tankers, and they'll be split with a servicing centre over there with possibly some yard lamps to indicate the area at night. And over there is going to be 2 fueling points on each of the rails. Along where the end of the siding is, there is another little bit of cork laid down. That is going to be housing a single lane engine shed, so when the trains come off their fueling duty, they have the opportunity to go back into the single lane shed for retiring and rewheeling if necessary, and for any engine light maintenance. Now I just want to show you some of the ballistic point work I've got on this layout. All the point motors on the layouts are DCC Cobalt digital IP point motors. There's approximately 30 on this layout at the moment. The majority of them were quite easy to install, didn't have any major problems. However, I have split the layout into power districts. I'm in the process of thinking either to get a booster for my ECOS. As you can see, this layout is running on ECOS at the moment. That provides me with up to 6 amps of power for this layout, which is more than enough. However, at the moment each board is split into 2 amp sections, which I've got to be careful of, because obviously with these trains are running, they do create, if I'm running Helgen locos for example, they do draw quite a lot of power, and sometimes it has been known to cause one of the layouts, one of the blocks to cut out. So at the moment they're all running pretty smoothly at the moment. Obviously I was pretty certain that these coaches I've got here, like the Mark IIs that are all lit up, with the exception of one. I've got to sort this one out at the moment, so this one here got a bit of an issue with it. I have got another rake of Mark 1s and Pullman vehicles, which they do run okay. The lights were put in from a previous owner, however they do draw quite a lot of power, and I have noticed that every time I run them, they can cause the layout to stop, so I'll have to redo that another time. So some of the key locos I have on the layout tonight, obviously you can see in the front of the screen at the moment where the QSL little siding is. That is my Weissman Tampa. On the Expedition's front, this is a very interesting vehicle because it's actually DCC sound fitted, and it's a very reliable run. It's got a stay alive in the vehicle as well, and it has got a variety of different functions. One of the main ones I like about it, it has got indicating beacons on its roof, and it actually has got a working tamper system on it as well. So if I was to bring this to exhibitions, I could leave this running on a shuttle system, and every now and again, depending on what function I have on, it will easily do a section, and it will have a whole loop done in about 15 minutes at about 3 miles an hour. So that's a key thing for that. It's been it was very expensive when I bought it, because of all the functionality it has on board. It's a very good runner, and it's one of my most viable asset I have on the kit, on the layout. Okay guys, so that will be the end for tonight, for this video, this live stream. I hope you've all enjoyed it, and what I've hoped to do with the over the next few weeks and the next months of the layout itself. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below, and I hope to see you all again real soon guys, and see you all real soon. All the best, and see you later in the year. So farewell from Woodfield Junction. Take care guys. Good night. Bye bye.